Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, Nokian Tyres, Amber, and StarCharge. Nokian Tyres is a leader in safety and sustainability. Maximize performance and efficiency with their made in USA all-season tires and their dedicated Hakkapeliitta EV winter line from the inventor of the winter tire. Learn more at nokiantires.com/EV. This video is also brought to you by Amber. Amber offers a modern extended warranty for your Tesla's battery and more without the burden of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description below to browse their plan options and get started with a free over-the-air diagnostic check. This video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world, and is also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage and microgrid solutions. The Mercedes Sprinter van has to do everything for everyone. So to make sure that the new fully electric eSprinter can do just that, we're subjecting it to the toughest challenge possible, driving it to over 14,000 feet of elevation up the highest paved road in North America. And we're doing it completely fully loaded. Join us as we push the eSprinter to the absolute limit. All right, y'all ready? We are cruising well above the tree line now, and it is otherworldly.
And on your right, you'll see the observatory. Are you?
Oh my god.
What are you doing, bruh?
Brother. Okay.
Brother. Just inch.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh. Okay, man. Okay, man. Sure.
Oh my god, really?
What up, dude?
Okay, do I go around?
Yeah, just inch.
Oh shit.
Do you mind?
Oh my god.
Hey, bro.
This is the interpretive center.
Yep.
So we can come here and interpret the meaning of driving a fully loaded electric sprinter to the top of Mount Evans.
Right.
Blue Sky Mountain.
Yeah.
Mount Blue Sky.
Whatever. You know, Sears Tower is still Sears Tower to some people.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. And Jordan joins me behind the camera, and we have the electric sprinter, and we are putting it to the maximum challenge we possibly can. Jordan, well, I had the idea, let's take the Sprinter fully loaded up Pikes Peak. And Jordan said, no, there's a road even tougher than Pikes Peak. What the heck are we doing?
It is a bit tougher and higher. It's 14,200 feet or so. And yeah, we're taking it up Mount Evans, which is now called Mount Blue Sky. It was renamed months ago.
Okay, so Mount Blue Sky.
Mount Blue Sky.
And we do have blue skies.
Yes.
And a aqua green van.
Yeah. Beautiful day for this. The van should look good on the mountain.
Do you like the color?
Not really.
Me either. I think it's actually my least favorite color, and it's so big that you're just plastered with it.
It's a lot of aqua green.
So in this video, we are going to show you how we loaded this up to the maximum payload. We are literally running it in the red, almost 10,000 pounds, and we're going to take it up it is the highest paved road in North America.
Yep.
It is the high output Sprinter, thankfully, but I think we're going to need all of it most of the time. So I'll tell everyone a little bit about the van. We'll show everyone how we have it set up, and then we're going on an adventure from here in the Denver, Colorado area, over 8,500 feet of elevation gain in a 50-mile period, a huge thermal stress test of this system. And then we got to come down and test the regen on the way down. If the Sprinter can do this, Amazon should be able to buy them to get deliveries to your neighborhood. So let's see how this goes. Jordan, I want to talk a little bit about the van. We were just saying, could other vans make it up there? Certainly the Bright Drop could. That's GM, lots of batteries.
Yep.
I think you get a 175 kilowatt hour battery pack in a Bright Drop.
Amazing.
This is 113 kilowatt hours, usable LFP, which will actually be great for this challenge because as we're climbing and we're under hard load, we actually won't have really that much voltage drop. So even down to like 8 or even 5% state of charge, this van will run the same 0 to 60 as it does at 100%.
So this is the drag race spec.
Well, I didn't say that because I don't even know if my stopwatch goes long enough for the 0 to 60.
Right, okay. 0 to 60, yes.
Yes, eventually. I mean, it actually does get up there pretty quick. A lot of you know I own a Sprinter. I own a diesel 4x4 with the old V6 turbo diesel. They just got rid of that and now are only running 4 cylinders. But I am actually completely sold on the electric thing. And what's interesting, Jordan, is I've had the chance to drive every electric van on the market. This is the one that captures my attention the most.
Yeah.
It has very usable range. It looks like a normal Sprinter, which means upfit possibilities. It's just plug and play. The electric ones currently are only sold in the long wheelbase high roof, which is kind of the worst spec for electric.
Right, very usable spec, but yeah, not the most efficient.
Right, so it's a 170-inch Sprinter. I own the 144-inch. I kind of wish they would do like a smaller four-wheel drive lifted one for electric camper conversions. But we have, like I mentioned, 113 kilowatt hours. You asked, can the Rivian commercial van...
EDV, yeah.
Yeah, but the EDV is only Amazon.
Oh, right. So the Rivian
The
commercial van.
RCV is the non-branded one. Then they also have the RSV, which is the Rivian service van.
They love 3 letters and numbers.
Yeah. So the question is, could that even make it up Mount Evans or Blue Sky?
Yeah, because basically what we're doing is 51 miles up almost 2 miles of elevation gain.
Right. So you're just going to be hard throttle, and it's high speed on the highway to get over there.
Yep.
Like, this is no joke. So when I range tested the Rivian van, it did 113 miles.
Yep.
Okay, so that has a 90-ish kilowatt hour usable LFP battery pack. This is a 113 kilowatt hour usable battery pack, but seemingly much more efficient.
So if this barely makes it...
Do you know I got 1.9 miles per kilowatt hour on my 65-mile journey down here in this?
That's really pretty
Fully
good.
loaded
Really
with a
pretty
water
good.
tote.
Yeah.
And it's the same elevation from my house to here.
Yep.
Slight tailwind, sure, but that's like what my Rivian gets.
Yeah.
And this thing is as tall as that parking garage if you get the right angle.
Yeah.
So I'm just so impressed with the efficiency, with the build quality, the driving smoothness. I mean, I like my Sprinter a lot. I just don't like all the conversion stuff that I did to it. You know, all the Winnebago stuff is the stuff that breaks, but the Sprinter's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't really mind it too much.
But you've been daily driving this thing, which is wild to me.
I love this. I've been going everywhere in it. We went to a 4th of July thing. I was like, we're taking the Sprinter. It's nice. Let me show you inside. It looks just like a normal Sprinter because it really is. They just slapped a battery in it and a magically efficient drivetrain. Somehow, both the AC system and the drivetrain system is so efficient. And around town, I'm deep into the 2 mile per kilowatt hour range, like 2.3, 2.4, which is crazy. We have, in terms of some more specs, a 150 kilowatt motor in the rear drive only, proper place to put an electric drive unit, Rivian. And it does not impact the storage at all in the vehicle. It is the exact same storage. What isn't great though is the payload. So I want to talk about setting this test up. In terms of range on this one, the Rivian did 113, this did 190 almost.
Quite a bit more.
Quite a bit more, and that's 70 mile per hour highway. In the city, this is a 300 mile van, no question, or more. So the problem with Sprinters, even without the electric one, is your payload capacity. They're always a bit down on payload. And this one is 2,332 pounds maximum, including me. So I had the bright idea, because I wanted to do Mount Evans fully loaded. Let's put 2,500 pounds of crap in this thing. The problem was I was like trying to put my smart car in there, and that would have weighed too much and it was a little bit too wide. But we have water totes, and especially when you're on a mountain route like this, I do not like to drive with water totes not completely full.
Yep.
So this is almost completely full. You really want to avoid sloshing, especially in an emergency maneuver. It can push the van, it can do weird stuff. And I've been testing it, and we're pretty much nearly full in the water tote.
Pretty good.
And basically this plus me is fully maxed out. I can't even have a passenger in the van to be within legal limits.
Right.
So this is that tote. It's strapped down. I strapped it down. We'll see if it's still strapped down at the end of the end of this test.
So this is somewhat real world testing, ideally. So the top of Mount Blue Sky, Kyle, which you haven't been, there is the ruins of what was a restaurant.
Oh.
So we're doing, if the restaurant was still open
And they ordered an Amazon
and they
package.
ordered a something in this van, could this van get up there?
If it can get there, this van can go anywhere.
Right.
So we have it fully charged. We just DC charged it to 100%. By the way, this van has plug-in charge, route planning, and on-route battery preconditioning. Awesome.
There's a lot of normal people EVs that don't have those things.
I know, it's like Ioniq 5. Are you watching? Our EV9, are you watching?
Yeah.
This has the same route planner as the EQS in it. It's awesome. So let's jump in. We're going to get the GoPros on, and I'm going to drive this thing fully loaded to the top of the highest drivable paved road in America. What is actually the highest road in America?
There's one in California that's literally only 200 feet higher and it's not paved.
Oh, so it's pretty much the
This
highest
is
road
like
you
the
can drive.
highest, yes.
Okay, great.
And it hasn't been repaved in like 40 years.
So it's going to be
It's
really suspension test as well then.
Mercedes might want to come do some testing on this road. So
Okay, let's do it. Before we head out, of course, I can be the only one in the van. So Max and Jordan are going to be taking the EV9 provided by Fort Collins Kia. Shout out.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Fort
Keys are
Collins.
everywhere. We got a Nero.
Yeah, I got a Nero over here. This thing must be pretty much fully charged by now. 90% sitting at an EA station. Really embracing your eGMP lifestyle here. See you guys over there. I'm going to hop in the big boy Sprinter. And again, I preconditioned it to this charger, charged it from 50-ish% to 100. So the battery's already toasty. And it's going to be warm out today. So I think this is going to be a pretty big thermal stress on the van as well. So let's get to it. We'll turn this thing on. There we go. I am resetting the trip computer. We are going to use climate control. We'll do 70 degrees, 68 on auto. By the way, the climate control in the Sprinter is so good because I think they plan for, you know, the back to be open and to get the AC back there. But when you just have the two cab or the two seat version in the small cab, holy smokes, it's really strong air conditioning. So you got to keep it gentle. Where to? We are going to Blue Sky. So that should get us right to the start, and then it's the big hill climb from there. But we still have to climb quite a bit. So it says even 37 miles away, we'll get there, and that's not even at the top. It's 66%. Keep in mind, we're at 100% state of charge, predicting just about 200 miles on a full charge. And it's saying we're going to burn that much. So let's see if the thermal systems can handle this. Let's see if the power can sustain on the uphill. And let's hope the stability is good. The water tote has not been an issue. I did some emergency maneuver testing just to make sure it was safe. No problems at all. So let's go. So I just changed the route plan to take us to the top of the hill. And you'll notice when I had it selected to the bottom of the hill, it said 66%. But now at the top, which is a much big elevation gain, it says 72. Really doesn't make any sense. Maybe it'll recalculate on the way, but having an accurate route planner is almost key to any electric car. So Jordan's coming over.
Let's see.
You want to make sure I got the right place in here?
Yep.
So here it said 66%.
Yep.
Here it says 72.
Makes no sense because there to there, this is the right ending. You're correct.
Okay.
That little squiggly is the final trail, the 100-foot hike to the summit where you can hike a 14er.
Oh, we should do that.
We could.
Maybe another day.
Yeah. We need some more training. So yeah, but this is like 4,000 feet of climb right here.
Yeah, so we're not gonna we're gonna be like 20%.
Clueless. I'm so curious why it thinks that.
Yeah, so it's great at the bottom of the hill. Maybe it just doesn't have elevation data for the highest drivable road.
I want to see if the Kia does.
Yes.
But we're ready after that.
Okay, show the viewers what the Kia says.
Yeah.
Also, one last thing I wanted to point out. Because this is electric, we will have no degradation of maximum performance at lower air density, high elevation.
Right. Yep.
But we will have thermals.
Yep.
So I wonder if we have a max power gauge, so I'll be able to see if we lose power.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drive in comfort mode. There's a couple different drive modes here. Eco and MR, which is not Manti Racing, but maximum range. But I'm going to keep it in C for comfort.
Nice.
We're going full power.
Okay, Kyle's ready to leave. We gotta go.
All right, we're just gonna go. But it says here. It says we'll arrive with 56%. We'll see how accurate it is. His van said 66 at the bottom, 72 at the top, which makes no sense. So we're gonna go with 56%. Wow, that's using quite a bit of juice to get up to the top there. So we'll see if this is, but I've found this to be over conservative at its guesses. So I'm gonna guess.
Turn left and then turn right.
I'm gonna guess I'm gonna turn nav voice off.
Guidance is at this volume.
No, it's not.
Guidance is at
Guidance
no
will be at this
volume.
Guidance will be at this volume. Guidance will be at
You'd
this
think I
volume.
could just click and drag on this number. I hate this software.
This volume.
There we go. Muted.
Okay, viewers, you join me in the Sprinter, and I am ready to go up Mount Blue Sky. Well, I'm going to keep an eye on the state of charge on arrival, because I think that's also an important test, and we're going to see if this can even make it. Based off of my experience with this, the Sprinter gives more power kind of the faster you go, but it has a slow launch, and I think a lot of these hills are going to be like wide open, hoping it can pull itself out. I don't know. Into drive, get the nav set, and we are off on the, honestly, toughest thing I think we could possibly put this Sprinter through. The EV9's got to be close to 100% at this point. It's a full station, almost, EA station here, but not completely. I can hear water sloshing around up here, not from the tote, but from my smart water I left in the roof. All right, so let's hope these guys get moving, and then we'll hit the road. So viewers, as we make our way over to the highway, a couple things I wanted to mention just about electric cars and weight and aero. So we tow and haul a lot with electric pickup trucks, and the van is not too dissimilar other than the huge aero frontal area that we have to deal with, just this really tall frontal area. And payload doesn't really affect an electric car. You know, everyone's always like, oh, how much weight can that truck tow? Or how far can you tow 10,000 pounds? This is a question I get often. And I'm always like, it's not about the weight, it's about the aerodynamic drag. On a flat road, you're just pushing air out of the way. So it's about your coefficient of drag multiplied by your frontal area. And with the van, we're pushing a lot of air out of the way already, and the van's already pretty heavy, and 2,300 pounds on top of the van isn't that much. I think we're at like 9,500 pounds in total. 9,600 pounds. I forget what GVWR is, but we're right there. I've got tire pressure set. The thing is, weight becomes important in the mountains when you're climbing hills. I'm now wide open throttle, 55, 60 miles an hour. Because yes, it slows us down. We're at 64, 65 miles an hour. I'm still matted, 100% throttle. Let's get up to 70. There we go, 70. And this is the high output version of the van, so do not get the low output version is all I'm going to tell you if you're going to load it up, unless you're doing just city work. But the weight, the payload, the mass that we're carrying is really affected when you start pulling this thing up and down hills. Then yes, the aero remains the same importance, but the weight can be your best friend or your biggest enemy. And what I mean by that is, as we go down hills, we'll be able to use the recuperation, use regenerative braking to charge back up. And we're going to look at how the regen works, and I have a bunch of different settings I'll walk you through when we get to that point. But for now, we have to haul all this weight up the hill. And again, we only have a 150 kilowatt motor. That's 200 horsepower. Same exact power output as our Kia EV9, actually. It'll be interesting to compare the efficiencies of these two, not for science, but just out of curiosity. And yeah, I'm just going to drive this thing how I normally would. This is not a scientific, repeatable test. It's the first time we've ever done this. Maybe if you guys like it, we'll make it an out-of-spec test loop for vans or for trucks or something. I don't know. I've never been up here before, so if anything, it's just kind of an excuse to go to the top of the hill and push the van to the limits. One note about the van, though, is if you're cruising on the highway like we are, if you keep your foot all the way to the floor, the van will go to 75 miles per hour. If you go to the kickdown switch, it will only do, if you use cruise control, it'll only do 74 miles an hour. So you get an additional 1 mile an hour when you mat the accelerator pedal versus just using cruise control. In this case, I'm going to set the cruise at maximum speed. Oh, got to turn it on, not off, Kyle. Set the cruise at 74. We've got a couple cars behind us. We'll let them by, and we'll see how it does on the hill climb. My goal here is maximum thermal stress into the Sprinter's driveline. I'll be wide open whenever possible, just absolutely matting this thing. Cruise control, holding it at 100% throttle there, which is neat. I actually want to do a quick little test. I'm going to go back on cruise control. In comfort mode, it goes to 100%. If I go to eco mode, backs off the throttle to like 75. And if I go to Manti Racing, MR, maximum range, not Manti Racing, then we actually lose speed. It only does 60% power output. Go to comfort, wham, back to 100% boost mode. So we're gonna definitely leave this thing in comfort mode because we need all the power on cruise control to go. Now, in the other modes, you can push past the kickdown switch and it will always give you 100% power if you go past the kickdown switch. I'm gonna take it a little bit gently through the corners just because we have a lot of weight in this thing, but I'm not gonna let it hold us back. We're gonna just keep with traffic and have a nice time on the uphill. So join me as we haul all this weight up the hill, wide open throttle on the I-70 hill climb. But now we have to use a little bit of regen because we're coming into traffic. So we'll do a little hazard light situation. We'll get into the right lane as well. Just go where traffic is flowing the best and back to wide open throttle. Let's knife our way through some traffic. See you guys in a bit.
Happy, Wes?
Nearing our exit, 1.5 miles away, where we get onto the scenic byway for Blue Sky, Mount Blue Sky. And I just have to give so much credit to the Sprinter for being this nice to drive. I mean, this is a really tall, really long, quite heavy vehicle. The powertrain seems completely unfazed at the moment. I give it the throttle. It's not fast, but it picks up speed. I've never had it where I haven't gained speed yet. And we've been on some steep inclines where my big diesel Sprinter loses speed, even at wide open throttle. So I'm just impressed all around with this vehicle. Now, it is pretty stable until you get a crosswind, which is really tall and long, and I did the range test with no weight in it. And if you get slammed with a crosswind, damn, do you feel it in this even more than mine, because this is the long Sprinter. But it has crosswind assist where it just rips on the brakes to stabilize the motion, and it's pretty good. Another difference that I really like in this compared to my Sprinter or older Sprinters is this uses an electric power steering rack. Of course, it's an EV. I guess it could have used a hydraulic rack driven by an electric pump, but this uses an electric rack. Mine is a completely old school hydraulic steering rack, and the steering's really heavy and it, you know, sometimes bogs the engine down. This is just nice and light and precise steering. Feels great, no complaints. So now we are exiting and we are about to hop onto the scenic byway. So Mount Blue Sky to the left. Let's do it. We're behind a Model Y from New York. That's quite the road trip. Nice. And the EV9 should be coming off here momentarily, unless Max missed the exit, which I don't think he did. Oh, had to go to 70% power just to get this thing moving off the line. I believe it's a permanent magnet motor, so I'm curious how they do cooling to the magnets on the rotor. We'll see. Wide open throttle, that's full rip. Plenty of acceleration. And because we're even at high elevation right now, we have no degradation of performance like a combustion Sprinter would have. And they really suffer at elevation to build boost, the combustion ones. I'm just gonna wait here for the guys in the Kia, and yeah, should be all right just to park it right there. We'll wait for them to come up and then we'll do the scenic byway. back roads, getting close to the entrance, but now I'm definitely feeling like we're working the Sprinter a little bit. The cornering is amazing, like the handling is extremely flat. If you go too hard, I haven't tried it on this run, but I've been doing some performance testing of the Sprinter earlier, it will just kick on ESP even if you shut it off, which is okay. I think that's fair and reasonable. But you could hustle a Sprinter down a road, and this thing coming out of the corner, wide open throttle, no limited power yet, and we've been climbing. And low speed, hard throttle is really hard on like inverters and stuff like that as well. So I'm really curious to see how the rest of this climb goes. Surprisingly, the person holding up all of us is the Model Y from New York. It's like, dude, you bought a freaking 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive, electric hot hatch. Rip it. What are you doing? Great chassis. That thing's ready to go. Anyway, yeah, we're just stuck behind the Model Y holding all of us up, and the Sprinter's doing great. I mean, I've given it lots of throttle just to maintain speed is 50% throttle, just to not even accelerate. If I go full throttle, we do still have some acceleration. This guy's bailing out. Full send. Again, the goal here from my side is just to put as much thermal stress in the system as possible. Get boogieing through here too, may as well, why not, right? So, you can absolutely fly in the Sprinter if you want to. It's amazing. All right, let's get over to the entrance and see how it goes. Hey there, how's it going? Yes, I have it right here for you.
Can I take that?
Yeah, of course, sorry. Okay, thank you very much.
Let me get you a pass.
Thank you. Thank you very much, appreciate that. Okay, so off we go, starting the climb. Off we go, the Kia is through, and we have in 9 miles some congestion with a medical situation, emergency, I don't know. And then in 14 miles, we'll reach the summit. So we may not get a clear shot up the hill, but this will be my first time up Mount Evans. Speed limit 30 feels fast. Okay, let's see how the Sprinter does. We're gonna just take it nice and gently. We got a long boy for these corners, so I gotta go wide on some of these things. And it's 59 degrees here at the base, and it should be 40 degrees at the top, the weather says. We've got plenty of performance. I'm wide open throttle up the hill. Man, this thing feels like a race car. Way more performance than my diesel has, that's for sure. That's amazing, actually. So we'll just kind of keep the speeds in check around the speed limit area when possible. And wow, already enjoying this. What a cool experience at the start.
Wait till Ford hears that we took a Mercedes eSprinter up higher than they took their super van.
The GoPro facing me isn't working, but you don't want to face me anyway. You're at 11,240 feet right now. We still have thousands of feet left to go, and I still have full power and performance. We started the hill climb at 68%. We're now at 65%. I think we're going to be pretty low by the time we reach the top. And the pavement's pretty beat up, holy smokes. But things are going well. Tight corners, that's for sure. Gotta go wide for this long wheelbase. And a wide open throttle pulling out of them. 100% in boost mode. Yeah, 25, 28 miles an hour seems to ramp on the torque. What fun. This is really great. You gotta do a lot more up here. This is really cool. And the Sprinter is just handling it like a champ. Who paved this road? This is hilarious. But I gotta say, not a squeak, not a squeak and not a rattle inside the Sprinter. So, is this Summit Lake then?
Yeah.
I think just because we're here, I'm just gonna make sure the water tote's definitely strapped down. Alright, so I'm gonna do a 10 roll, the industry standard 10 mile an hour to full throttle. Ready?
Watch the
3, 2,
cyclist.
1, full throttle. That was a 10 to 20 pull right there. I know you felt the earth spin backwards.
Yeah, that was wild.
Major switchback of the track. I need to go really wide, and I've turned all the way. And it's kind of hard to see when people are coming or not. This is the view from the Sprinter, and it is pretty treacherous. I mean, like, this is a no joke road, and man, we are just bouncing our way up here. Feels like we're on like a Tibetan mountain pass or something similar. So cool. We're using lots of throttle to get this thing moving. We've got these hairpins, so we have bikers oncoming. I'm gonna wait for them to go through, and then we will make our way up. So here we go. We gotta go wide, and we gotta cut it. It's really not that bad of a wheelbase. This wasn't too bad, this one. You can see the road's literally falling apart on the edge, and we have a very heavy Sprinter, and I don't want it to fall apart underneath me, and we would go down there. So I'm trying to stay off the edge as much as possible unless there's oncoming traffic, because the road is disintegrating. Arriving to the summit in the Sprinter. Hell yeah, 0.9 miles per kilowatt hour from the start. We've made it up. We have no power limit, surprisingly. I really thought we would. And if I come over here to the EQ thing, I wonder if it'll show warm battery. Nope, battery's not even that warm. 996 turbo right here, very cool. Dang, this is awesome. I wonder if they're parking. I think they're parking. We got to find a spot to park this behemoth. But we can loop around a couple times and hopefully find a spot. This was amazing. and the Sprinter did it fine. Now, the second test will be, can it regen down the hill? Because that's sometimes harder for cars to do. So let's see if we can find a spot to park this thing.
This is actually the first DC fast charging station ever built.
And on your right, you'll see the observatory, built in 1966. It was the highest observatory in the world. It is now the third highest.
Real car. Hell yeah, Turbo 996.
So here we are, parked at the top. 0.9 miles per kilowatt hour, 52% state of charge. Damn. So we were on track to do more than 100 miles, even considering the elevation. That's crazy. You can see the road snaking down there. This is absolutely cool. Let's look around. Oh, by the way, the Sprinter has a keep climate function, so I can actually keep the heater running while I'm up here, and it's 42 degrees out. I think it'll run for like a half hour, an hour, something like that. We are at the top of, what's the new name? Blue Sky
Blue
Mountain.
Sky. Technically, it's right there, but close enough.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we could probably make it up there with enough speed.
You're right, yeah. So, yeah, welcome to the highest parking lot in the country.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So what about the highest drivable road, though? Do they not have a parking
No,
lot?
it's just an overland Jeep trail.
Oh, so this
That's
is like a real...
This is the highest paved, yeah.
I think this is the highest road.
It really is, yes. Yes, and this was a restaurant built in 1940.
Wow. They
Exploded.
had to walk all of those things up there? I'm just joking.
It exploded in 1970.
It exploded?
Yep.
Why?
So a propane fire, it caused a chain reaction propane tank explosion.
Oh, no way.
So at the time, this was the highest restaurant in the world.
And what about now?
Well, now it's not a restaurant, but
Okay. It exploded. All right.
yeah,
I see.
yeah. This guy built it as a castle.
14,130 feet. What is Pikes Peak?
14,115.
Whoa, so real close.
We are higher.
So this is probably the highest elevation I've ever been so
Probably,
far.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And the Sprinter did it no problem, dude. It
Yeah.
was just hard throttle every opportunity.
Electric's nice up here.
Could you hear it?
Not really. I just heard like the wheel, the tires.
No, tires.
They just
the
didn't
limit.
sound happy. Yeah.
Right. But I was just
Yep.
every chance. And this is the interpretive center.
Yep.
So we can come here and interpret the meaning of driving a fully loaded electric Sprinter to the top of Mount Evans. Or
Right.
Blue Sky Mountain.
Yeah.
Mount Blue Sky.
Whatever. You know, Sears Tower is still Sears Tower to some people. So
So let's go down because I don't want to waste too much time here. I want to keep the heat
Right.
in the vehicle. It's cold up here.
it is. It's 41 degrees ambient, something like that.
Really cold up here. So I'd say once Max is done peeing, we should get in the car, get in the van, get in the SUV. How'd the Kia do, by the way?
Fine. Totally fine.
Yeah, no
Yep.
issues.
It's slow, but you know, it's slow at sea level
But
too.
we have the same power.
yeah.
So could you keep up at wide open? Probably.
Probably close. Yeah. We're a bit less heavy.
Yeah.
How much does this thing weigh?
It's almost 10,000 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
I think we're at 93, something like that, 94.
yeah. So
GVWR.
Hummer EV weighs the same.
Yeah, just about. But dude, this thing is a beast, I got to tell you.
Pretty awesome.
It's huge, so I can feel every gust of wind.
Ooh.
All right, well, Max is back,
Good
so
water delivery, 1 day prime for Mr. Nelson.
you can see the tote's doing just fine, still
You can
strapped
see how
down.
much of a tilt you are right now with the water level.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, it handles like a freaking dream with that thing in there.
Nice.
So let's get moving.
Pop back down. Okay.
Yep. It's time to go down. So let's talk recuperation, regen. We have, again, that LFP battery pack, which means it should be able just to rip high regen, even at high state of charge. But at 52%, it can definitely take everything. We're going to have to stop and get a thumbnail on the way, but I have a couple different drive modes to talk to you about. I can start with the paddle shifters. On the right side, I have D++, and D++ is a drive with no recuperation, except when I hit the brake pedal, it will add regen and then blend in friction brakes. It's actually not that good of a brake pedal. It's worse than the other cars. It's very similar to like my smart car brake pedal. I'm going to let this Subaru go by here. And, so yeah, brake pedal's not so great, but then I can pull the left paddle, which steering wheel's upside down, so, you know, whatever. And we're in D+, which is a little bit more off throttle recuperation. No one pedal driving here though. And then I can go into D normal, which does quite a bit of regen actually. And then there's one extra hardcore D-, which was my class score in PE. I never liked gym class, always got a D-, but that's not failing. So now I can basically ride D- down the hill, and it will start to really ramp in regen around 5 miles an hour. Below that, it kind of creeps. There is no way to shut off creep mode. You have to use the physical brakes to hold you back. So now it's time to go down and put as much regen into this battery as possible. Now I'm going to save 2 different trips. I'm going to do our overall trip, which is from reset, but I'm going to reset our from start and see what our values are heading down the hill, see how much we can recapture. Now this is really the final test. Most electric cars don't struggle on the uphill. Most electric cars struggle on the downhill. We've shown Cybertruck overheating or having a regen limitation. We've shown same thing with Rivian and others. So we really need to see how the Sprinter can handle constant miles and miles of recuperation. So we're at 52%. We're over 9.9 miles per kilowatt hour already. Might be the highest it shows. So let's see how everything goes as we make our way down. Thumbnail captured, time to roll. Get some speed on and try and work that regen as much as possible. So let's just sit on the recuperation the whole way down, fully loaded, and we have about, I don't know, what, 8,500 feet of elevation back to the starting point. Wonder what the state of charge will be. This will be really interesting, really interesting. And this is where the payload is helping us, actually, because it's helping, you know, we just pulled it up the hill. Now we'll be able to recapture all that extra kinetic energy that the water tote provides. It's like this super magical magnetic force. I mean, I'm so used to driving EVs, but something about doing it in a van is just so cool. Got this thing in max recuperation, and it is strong regen, let me tell you. You know, a lot of vans and commercial vehicles are running with a, you know, that have a single primary axle, running with front wheel drive, like the Rivian service van, for example. They're running a front motor, front wheel drive application. I believe they'll have an all-wheel drive or have built a couple, but either way, front motor primary. Here in the Sprinter, the rear motor, the rear is the primary location for the motor. It's the only location. And, you know, the argument for having a front motor for a lot of these automakers and fleet manufacturers of fleet vehicles is like, well, you can get more regen on the front axle. But honestly, I'm getting so much recuperation on the rear, even unloaded, that I think that argument is kind of stupid, because I've never had the wheels lock up in the Sprinter. I've had this thing on some dirt roads, bumpy roads, unloaded, where, you know, there's less weight over the rear tires, and I still get a ton of regen, and it's completely stable. So I'm all for putting motors in the back. Now, the other reason that a lot of commercial vehicles run a front motor is you have a hood, and in the back it takes up cargo space, is the claim. Well, you put a motor back there, you need a hump in the floor, you have to do a non-coaxially mounted gearbox, and that reduces efficiency and all of these things. But in the Sprinter, this is magically efficient. There's no impact to the loading floor at all whatsoever, and the motor doesn't even hang as low as it does in the E-Transit, which is rear motor with the motor like almost on the ground with a little skid plate looking thing. So in this one, I'm not I'm not sure there's any downside for doing a rear motor. And then it means it's more stable. The front tires aren't spinning when you load up the back, especially in bad weather. This is just the way to do it. And I'm able to just sit and recapture even on a bumpy road off the side of a cliff in max regen, haven't even touched the brake pedal, and it's wonderful. This is totally the way to do it. So props to Mercedes for understanding the correct location to put a motor.
So for our nerdy audience who wants to know the history of this mountain, it yes, used to be called Mount Evans. Mr. Evans was like the first or second governor or something, so named after him in 1895, which means Mount Rosalie was moved to a nearby 13,500 foot mountain. Then it was named Mount Evans for, yeah, over 100 years. And then about a few years ago, the committee or someone decided to rename it because it was canceled, basically, because Evans, the governor, was actually involved in the Sandy Creek massacre somehow. It just, I guess, had been known to do some questionable things. I guess what governors weren't, because I think a lot of things have been renamed lately. So yeah, it was renamed to Mount Blue Sky after much deliberation, because there were some tribes who were also then offended by Mount Blue Sky for reasons of a cultural appropriation, I believe. But either way, they've gone back and forth on names for a long time. Finally renamed Mount Blue Sky. So yeah, it was Mount Evans. Before that it was Mount Rosalie, named after some girl he liked. And then, yeah, I don't know who it was, but some guy built that restaurant at the top of the mountain for his girlfriend to try to impress her, like built her a castle in the sky. So it was a restaurant, a hotel, the highest in the world, built in the 30s, was finished in 39 or 40, something like that, and was the highest restaurant in the world for like 30 years before it exploded in the 70s, and they never rebuilt it. Sad. So now we just have ruins up there.
No question, I think this is a great test for ski resorts, mountain towns who may choose to use an electric Sprinter with really steep gradients. Of course, that comes to mind. I live here in Colorado, but a lot of mountain resorts use Sprinters as shuttle vehicles. This can do the run to the Denver airport and back, no problem, electrically. So I was like, Vail should be using these. Aspen could use them for their local usage. There's no reason to not use an electric Sprinter now. The only actual reason would be they don't offer an all-wheel drive version with the electric, which I really hope they do. And they also don't offer a passenger version electric yet. But I think this is just the first of many models to come with the electric Sprinter. Right now, no electric van is passenger rated. They are all cargo applications. And I'd love to see that change, because I really think airport shuttles, etc., need to be electric. Kind of fun just to vary the regen with the pedals, and we are already up to 56% in just 9 miles.
Yeah, they came on there.
Yep, that was brake lights.
But
so that
earlier
was
up the hill,
earlier
it wasn't decelerating enough.
Okay, hold on. Let me go again. Let's just run through it. I'll let you know what I'm doing. I'll start in D++. So I'm in D++, no regen. Now I'm in D+, a little bit of regen. Now I'm in D, quite a bit of regen, more than, almost full. And then D-. Now I'm full regen.
No brake lights.
Still no brake lights.
Amazing. So you
really get a lot of deceleration without brake lights. I think almost Mercedes should bring in the brake lights sooner. What do you guys think?
Leave a comment in the description.
Yeah, leave a comment, folks. But yeah, I think they should bring it in earlier. A lot of other cars do.
But it's interesting how at low speed, at least, it does do brake lights in D-.
So, Max, at the peak,
That was a lot sharper than I was expecting.
at the peak, we were at 63%, which is 7% more than the vehicle predicted in its thing when we initially left the charger. As we got closer, it did correct it more and more, but then we lost it again because we lost service and Kia Connect couldn't tell us what to do. Now we've gotten back to the toll gate, and we're at 66%. So we've gained 3% from the peak. What was our efficiency at the peak?
It was 1.7. It's increased to 2.4.
Nice. Yep, pretty decent, and nothing's too surprising, actually. I think we're pretty much right on the money for this.
And we are reaching the bottom of the specific road here. Looks like they use a Chevy Volt to go up and down. That's awesome. So a Volt, an Impala, and a C-Max plug-in hybrid. So I think the Volt would be pretty good going up and down there, honestly. Glad that they're still working that. So we have gained, 59%. So we gained 7% on the downhill so far in 14 miles. Pretty damn good. And no regen limit. Charging power is still indicating full, which would indicate full power. Full temperature. The Mercedes will pop up a battery overheat warning if it gets warm, but so far so good. So we're going to head down towards I-70 now, back to the charging station. So I'm not going to put in the charging station because I don't want it to precondition. I just want to see what the thermals do without putting in a charger, but I'm going to put a pin next to the charger, and that should be good. So we've got some extreme downgrades coming through here. So again, I think I'm just going to ride it in D+. That will kind of maintain our speed. We have 36 miles left to go. We're averaging 9.9 miles per kilowatt hour, but I bet actually more than that because it doesn't go any higher. So we've maxed out the gauge, and we're just sitting in regen, and we're actually increasing speed. I think I'll have to go to D here to hold us back a little bit, or even D- for the corner. Yep. Some of these corners are sharp. I want to avoid friction brakes as much as possible and just put as much drivetrain thermals into the system here. So just keep riding it. Are now getting back to I-70, and we are at 64% state of charge. We have gained a lot, and still no thermal issues whatsoever. Everything is happy and cool, and yep, still full charging available. We're wide open throttle. Now we have a little bit of elevation gain to do and loss, but look at the performance. 50, 55, 60 miles an hour, 65. Wow. Sprinter through the mountains. Let's go. Full throttle past the UPS truck. Woo! And we are off our final exit. Nice. And we're pulling over. All right, time to get to the charger. Still using regen, still regenning. Let's click it into D, more regen. Wow, what a drive. 100 miles of, I would say, pure mountain driving. Full regen D- here. Have to blend a little bit of friction brakes. We have arrived back to where we started. That's the supercharger over there, EA station over there. So from the top of the hill, we did 50 miles and we got 9.9 miles per kilowatt hour. What you guys will not believe are the full trip stats. It's absolutely crazy. 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. And you guys saw how I was driving this thing flat out whenever possible. Hard throttles out of every corner. We got better efficiency than like my Rivian. That's insane. And again, half of that's pretty much highway cruising. Now we did have some traffic on the way up, but damn, that is way better efficiency than I expected for something this huge. And you can see the battery temperatures are fine over here. If I go home and then I go to eSprinter, we'll still get maximum charging power. And if it was a temperature issue, we would have this little logo right there that indicates a battery temperature issue. And that is not shown up here. So battery is fine. Wow. And we still have 57% after doing 101 miles of mountain driving. That's incredible. Jordan, I would like your reaction to the efficiency.
Okay, what'd you end up with?
This is a huge vehicle.
It is.
As you know.
It's taking up the whole frame.
It is. All you have to do is get in here, and I'll let you discover it for yourself. Max, what do you think it is?
I'm getting like total round.
Yeah, round trip.
1.8.
So Max is at 1.8. Jordan, what do you think?
Where is it?
I'll show you how to get there.
I think 1.1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Watch here.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Big regen.
2.2.
Big regen.
Holy crap.
I know. Isn't that incredible?
Wow. Wow. And you're still at
I'm at 57%.
57%.
Well, I'm higher battery charge than when we got to the top of the hill.
So are we?
Yeah.
So you left at 100.
I left at 100%.
If we had left at 100, we'd be back here with, I guess, 72.
What was your efficiency? I don't know. This is not quite double what that weighs, but close to double the weight and a huge frontal area. I mean, look at the size difference between these two. Max is going to look up the efficiency of the EV9 and the Sprinter. This is huge.
This looks tiny.
Yeah, I know. This is like a sports car.
Yeah.
Here, let me check in with Max. Hold on. Oh, he needs the key.
I got the key. 3.9.
Oh, wait, it went way up. Sorry, we kept regenning, so 3.9.
Wow,
3.9.
3.9.
That's
amazing.
pretty amazing.
Okay. Wow. So that loop is like how to get the most efficiency out of an electric car, drive to the highest road and back down.
Right.
Which in theory shouldn't be the case. Speeds were really low.
Yep.
But we blasted down.
Yep.
Because, you would think there'd be heat loss every time you're hard throttle and stuff, but efficiency on these have just gotten so good. At the top, 52%.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And down here, because we're at 6,000 feet of elevation, this isn't super low.
So you gained 5 from top to here. We gained 3 from top to here.
Okay, well, I gained, and that's a lot more energy actually.
It is, yeah.
Because this is a bigger battery.
Yep. More weight, bigger battery.
So I actually, I guess that makes sense because I was heavier.
Yep.
I was able to capture more on the way down. And the regen in this is so strong. I never had to touch the brake pedal.
This thing's a beast.
Only at very low speed when, like it starts to back off regen below 10 miles an hour. Yeah, I had to use the friction brakes a bit.
Yep.
But the brake pedal does blend in extra regen as well. I'm just so impressed overall with the actual usability of this in mountain driving. That's, to me, I thought we were going to get like 1.2, 1.1 round trip like you were thinking.
Really not bad.
And it doesn't go any higher than 9.9 miles per kilowatt hour.
Well, the Rivian doesn't go any higher than 4.
But it would have been a trillion. I could have driven to the moon.
Right.
Because in theory, we gained.
So does the Rivian van have the 4 limit that the S and T do?
Oh,
how they can't do more than 4 miles per kilowatt hour as judged by the screen?
Yeah. I guess, I don't know.
Be interesting.
Yeah. I would love to do a van comparison. Maybe we can get all the vans together and do this same exact loop.
That'd be so fun.
Because I doubt any of the other ones would be tuned as well as this to be able to handle that route as nicely.
Pretty impressive.
That's just Mercedes engineering.
Yep.
So yeah, over 2 miles per kilowatt hour up to the top of blue sky and down in the Sprinter, fully loaded, full height, full length. It literally cannot get any tougher than that.
Yep. Just needs to be a better color.
Just, yeah, better color. This
Max
color.
loved the color, and then by the end of it, he was really tired of looking at it.
Yeah, it's not easy on the eyes, this aqua. Don't spec this one. Spec anything else. Most of them online, by the way, these things are not cheap. These are like mid $80,000 for most specs.
Yep.
They all have base headlights.
Oh.
Don't do that.
Don't do
Make
that.
sure when you spec an eSprinter, you get the LEDs.
Yep. Looks
Because
good.
it looks awful on the standard headlights.
Yeah.
So you have to get these.
Nice.
And most of them are for fleets, obviously. So they all are like stripped out steel wheels, which I prefer the steelies over these wheels. These wheels are not it either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. From Denver, or I guess Lakewood, to Mount Blue Sky and back, 2.2 miles per kilowatt hour. I did everything I could to be as hard as possible on this to try and overheat it. I had it to the maximum legal limit that this says, which GVWR, just to remind everyone, is 9,370 pounds.
Wow.
So we're at pretty much 9,400 pounds. I put a couple extra gallons in just to be safe. It was dripping on the way in, so
Right, okay.
I put in like 10 extra.
Yeah.
So technically, we were probably pretty close to max.
Basically, we pushed it.
As far as legal limits would allow,
Yep.
and as much full throttle as possible, as you guys saw out of every corner. Never had a thermal issue, never had a regen limit, and we got great efficiency.
So if anyone's thinking of doing some deliveries up Mount Blue Sky, well, I guess the restaurant's exploded, no longer there. The observatory, though, still functioning. So
Yeah,
maybe there's a delivery.
The thing is, I don't know how the other vans would do,
Right.
but I do know this one works great. And I think this is the one that's going to be most popular for EV camper conversions.
Right.
Because this and the E-Transit are the only two that are like consumer saleable
Yeah.
without a fleet. With Bright Drop and Rivian, you need a fleet account in order to buy them. And if you just want one to build out, this is the clear choice over the Transit, which charges way slower with a much smaller battery pack.
Yep.
And this is, I mean, you can get a Transit with a high roof and a long wheelbase, but you want this battery in here.
Right.
This 113 kilowatt hour LFP is awesome. Never gave me a hint of trouble. So there you go. Toughest challenge we could come up with. The Sprinter tackled it. I'm sold on one of these things.
Highest paid road in North America. Now you're sold.
Don't know why you wouldn't do it. See you on another one again soon. Bye.